Hi, boys and girls. This is Ms. Kathy. I'm so happy you've joined me today for another story just for you.
Even in the Midst of War by Kyla Steinkraus. Mother, what's going on? Adela asked her mother as she walked into the living room. The 14-year-old had just finished cleaning the table after Sabbath dinner. Mother sat and stared at the TV with her hand over her mouth. The screen showed a shaky video of collapsed and burning buildings. Smoking rubble was strewn everywhere. People stumbled around in shock. At first, Adela was surprised. They never turned on the TV on the Sabbath. But then the realization sank in. One of their relatives must have texted Mother. Something bad had happened. Her stomach clenched. What's wrong? The rebels have bombed several towns near Idlib in northern Syria. Mother glanced at Adela with reddened eyes. They hit the town we used to live in. Adela's parents had come to America on work visas several years earlier. She still remembered Syria, kicking a soccer ball in the dusty streets with her cousins, visiting the beautiful sand-colored buildings, and worshiping in the little house church on the corner where they met every Sabbath to worship God. She hadn't seen her cousins or Aunt Fatima in 5 years. Dina was 10 and loved horses, math, and singing in the church choir. Little 9-year-old Ekram was mischievous and always getting into trouble, but he loved a good joke and helping his mother cook flatbread and falafel. For a moment it was hard to breathe. But that's where Aunt Fatima lives now, and our cousins. Yes, Mother said. I hate war, Adela whispered, angry tears in her eyes. As do I. Mother pushed her black curls behind her ears and patted the sofa cushion beside her. There are many wars happening right now. Many people are suffering. It's not just about Dina and Ekram or our family. I know. Adela plopped down next to her mother. Her mouth was dry. Her heartbeat thudded in her ears. All she could think about was whether her cousins were safe. What will happen to them? She finally asked Mother. I've been trying to call them. I couldn't get through, Mother gasped. She pointed at the TV with a shaking hand. There, right next to that burning building. That's the house church on the corner where Aunt Fatima worships every Sabbath. The house church was no longer standing. It had been reduced to a pile of rubble. The bombing happened this morning, Father said quietly. He leaned against the door jamb in the hallway, his face pale beneath his beard. While they were in church. Our family was in there? Tears spilled down Adela's cheeks. Does that mean they're dead? Don't give up hope, Adela, Father said. God is working behind the scenes, even when we can't see it. All the bombs in the world can't destroy God's plan. We must have faith in Him. What have we been studying in the Bible lately? Mother asked. In the end times, there will be wars and rumors of wars, Adela said slowly. But it will all pass away because Jesus will come again. Right. Even in uncertain, scary times like now, it's important to remember that we trust in God, not the powers of this world. Adela nodded. What can we do to help them? We can pray, Father said. That night, Adela knelt beside her bed, folded her hands, and prayed fervently. Dear God, please be with my family in Syria. Please protect them. Be with them no matter what. I know you are in charge, even when it doesn't feel like it. Amen. Amen. Mother walked into the room and gently rubbed her daughter's hair. Into bed now. I'll let you know as soon as I hear something. 2 long days passed. Adela prayed during breakfast, on the way to school, at lunch and supper, and every moment in between. She barely ate. Her stomach was twisted in knots. She kept imagining the horrors she'd seen on TV. The bombs falling, the huge explosions, the dust and debris spraying everywhere as buildings collapsed and people screamed, running for their lives. It was awful, but she knew her father was right. God was bigger than all the guns, bombs, and wars in the world, and one day He would put a stop to all of this suffering and death. On the 3rd day, Adela was in her room studying for a social studies test when Mother knocked on the door. She gripped her phone in her hands, and she was smiling. What? Adela cried, jumping up from her seat. Tell me the news. I finally got hold of some of our Adventist friends in Syria, Mother said. Aunt Fatima, Ekram, and Dina are all safe, but they must leave their home and stay somewhere else while the fighting continues. One of our friends in Aleppo will take them in for now. Mother gathered Adela in a hug. Adela cried again, but this time it was tears of happiness. She pulled away from her mother and wiped her eyes. "How were they spared?" Adela asked Mother. "The house church was destroyed." "A month ago, they decided to meet at a different house church a few towns over," Mother said. "The house that was bombed on Sabbath was completely empty. Everyone is safe, even before the bombing. God had plans to protect them." Joy and gratitude filled Adela's heart. God really was in control. He'd kept his people safe, even in the midst of a war.
The story you have heard today is from God's Greatest Stories, written by various authors and compiled by Randy Fischel, and used with permission from the Pacific Press Publishing Association. If you're interested in any other books published by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, please visit AdventistBookCenter.com or call 1-800-765-6955.
This podcast is a production of the Carolina Conference of the Seventh-day Adventist Church.